2024, a year forever etched in infamy, marked by the horrifying aftermath of the Candy family tragedy. That fateful night, a seemingly ordinary family gathering descended into a nightmare, sending shockwaves through the quiet town of Yukon, Oklahoma. The Candy family, a picture of suburban perfection, was the envy of the neighborhood. Nestled in a tranquil cul-de-sac, their home exuded warmth and security. The patriarch, John Candy, a respected businessman, and his loving wife, Sarah, were the epitome of a devoted couple. Their two children, the bright and athletic Michael and the artistic and sensitive Emily, completed their idyllic family portrait. On the evening of April 12, the Candy home was filled with laughter and the aroma of Sarah's signature roast. The family had gathered to celebrate Michael's recent academic achievement. As they sat around the dinner table, sharing stories and dreams, little did they know that a darkness was lurking, ready to shatter their peaceful existence. As the night deepened, a scary silence fell over the house. A neighbor, awakened by blood-curdling screams, peered out their window to see the Candy home engulfed in flames. Firefighters and police officers rushed to the scene, their sirens piercing the night. When the flames were finally extinguished, a horrifying scene unfolded. The once warm and inviting home was now a charred shell, a macabre testament to the violence that had taken place within its walls. The bodies of John, Sarah, and Michael Candy were found inside, each bearing the marks of a brutal attack. But one person was missing. Where was Emily? As investigators combed through the crime scene, they discovered a trail of blood leading from the house to the nearby woods. The evidence pointed to a brutal struggle, a fight for survival that had ended in tragedy. The question that haunted the town was, who could have committed such a heinous act? The small town of Yukon, Oklahoma, was thrown into a state of shock and fear. Neighbors and friends of the Candy family were left reeling, struggling to come to terms with the horrific events that had occurred. The once peaceful community was now gripped by a sense of unease, as the specter of violence loomed large. As the investigation deepened, detectives began to focus on a dark secret that had been hidden within the Candy family for years. A family feud, fueled by jealousy and resentment, had been simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to erupt. A key piece of evidence, a cryptic note found at the crime scene, provided a crucial clue. The note, written in a hurried scrawl, contained a threat directed at the Candy family. Investigators believed that the note was a warning, a sign that someone was targeting the family. As the investigation continued, detectives interviewed friends, family, and neighbors, hoping to piece together the puzzle. They probed into the lives of the Candy family, exploring their relationships and uncovering hidden secrets. They also examined the financial records of the family, looking for any motive for the attack. As the days turned into weeks, the pressure on the investigators mounted. The community was desperate for answers, and the media was hungry for a story. The case became a national sensation, with news outlets from across the country reporting on the gruesome details of the crime. The investigators faced a daunting task. They had to sift through countless leads, interview countless witnesses, and analyze a mountain of evidence. But they were determined to bring justice to the Candy family and to bring peace to the community. The investigation took a dramatic turn when a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows. This individual, a former associate of John Candy, had a grudge against the family that dated back many years. As the investigators probed deeper into the past, they uncovered a web of deceit and betrayal, a story of greed and revenge. The revelation of this dark secret sent shockwaves through the community. It seemed that the perfect family had been hiding a nefarious secret, a secret that would ultimately lead to their tragic demise. As the investigation reached its climax, the truth would be revealed, and justice would be served. But until then, the mystery of the Candy family tragedy would continue to haunt the minds of those who knew them, a scary reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most perfect lives. As the investigation unfolded, a clearer picture emerged. The family feud had escalated to a dangerous level, with the perpetrator driven by a desire for revenge. The night of the massacre, the assailant had broken into the Candy home, armed with a deadly weapon. A brutal struggle ensued, leaving the family members injured and terrified. In a final act of violence, the perpetrator set the house ablaze, ensuring that no one would survive. The disappearance of Emily Candy remained a mystery, a haunting question that lingered in the minds of the investigators and the community. Was she a victim of the attack, or had she managed to escape the horror? The answer to this question would have to wait, as the investigation continued to unfold. The Candy family tragedy shocked the nation and sparked a nationwide debate about the dangers of family feuds and the importance of seeking help when relationships turn toxic. The case also highlighted the devastating impact of violence on families and communities. As the investigation drew to a close, the community of Yukon, Oklahoma, was left to grapple with the aftermath of the tragedy. The once peaceful town was forever changed, scarred by the violence that had taken place within its borders. The Candy family tragedy would serve as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most perfect lives. The case of the Candy family remains a scary reminder of the destructive power of human nature. It is a cautionary tale that warns us of the dangers of harboring resentment and seeking revenge. As we reflect on this tragic event, let us learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a more peaceful and harmonious future. As the investigation deepened, a team of seasoned detectives, led by Detective Harper and Detective Ramirez, was tasked with unraveling the mystery behind the gruesome murders. They were joined by a team of forensic experts who meticulously examined the crime scene, collecting evidence that would help piece together the puzzle. One of the first clues that caught the attention of the investigators was a cryptic message scrawled on the wall of the living room. The message, written in blood-red ink, read, "You reap what you sow." This perplexing message raised more questions than it answered, leading investigators to wonder if it was a warning, a threat, or a confession. As the investigation progressed, several theories emerged. Some believed that the murders were the result of a robbery gone wrong, while others speculated that it was a targeted attack, perhaps motivated by a personal grudge or a financial dispute. However, as the detectives probed deeper into the case, they began to realize that the truth was far more nefarious. It emerged that John Candy had been involved in a series of questionable business deals, which had strained his relationships with both family and friends. His financial troubles had created tensions within the family, leading to arguments and disputes. One of the prime suspects in the case was John's estranged brother, David, a man with a history of violence and substance abuse. David had always been jealous of John's success and had harbored resentment towards him for years. The investigators believed that David might have been motivated by a desire for revenge, seeking to destroy the family that he had always envied. Another potential suspect was Emily's boyfriend, a troubled young man with a history of drug addiction. The investigators discovered that Emily had been planning to break up with her boyfriend, fearing that their relationship was becoming toxic. It was possible that the boyfriend, fearing rejection and loss, had snapped and carried out the horrific attack. As the investigation continued, the detectives were faced with a complex puzzle, with multiple suspects and conflicting motives. The more they probed into the case, the more they realized that the truth was far more complicated than they had initially thought. Weeks after the horrific crime, a breakthrough in the case came in the form of a security camera footage from a nearby convenience store. The footage showed a figure, cloaked in shadows, purchasing a gasoline canister and a box of matches just hours before the fire. The figure's face was obscured, but their distinctive gait and clothing provided valuable clues. Meanwhile, a witness came forward, claiming to have seen a suspicious person lurking near the Candy home on the night of the murder. The witness described the person as a tall, thin figure, wearing a dark hoodie and a mask. The description matched the figure seen in the security footage. As the investigation intensified, detectives began to piece together the puzzle. They followed the trail of the gasoline canister, tracing its purchase back to a local hardware store. The store owner was able to provide a detailed description of the individual who had purchased the item. The breakthrough came when a detective recognized the description of the suspect from a cold case file. The suspect, a man named David Miller, had a history of violence and had been known to harbor resentment towards the Candy family. Miller had been a former business partner of John Candy, and the two had had a bitter falling out years ago. With a renewed sense of purpose, the detectives focused their attention on David Miller. They obtained a warrant to search his home, where they found a cache of weapons, including a knife that matched the murder weapon used in the Candy family massacre. They also discovered a diary, filled with angry rants and threats directed at the Candy family. As the evidence mounted against David Miller, the investigators closed in on their suspect. They were able to track his movements on the night of the murder, placing him at the scene of the crime. With the evidence firmly in their hands, they arrested David Miller and charged him with 4 counts of murder. The arrest of David Miller brought a sense of relief to the community of Yukon, Oklahoma. For months, the town had been gripped by fear and uncertainty. The arrest of the suspect provided some closure, but the pain of the tragedy would linger for years to come. The trial of David Miller was a highly publicized event, drawing intense media attention. The courtroom was packed with spectators, eager to witness the unfolding of the dramatic legal battle. The prosecution presented a compelling case, supported by a mountain of evidence, including the damning diary entries and the eyewitness testimony. David Miller, however, pleaded not guilty, claiming that he was innocent of the charges. He argued that he had an alibi for the night of the murder and that the evidence against him was circumstantial. The trial was a roller coaster of emotions, with shocking revelations and dramatic testimony. As the trial progressed, the jury was presented with a complex web of evidence, including DNA analysis, forensic reports, and witness statements. The defense team fought tooth and nail to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, but the evidence was overwhelming. After weeks of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict. David Miller was found guilty of 4 counts of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The verdict brought a sense of justice to the Candy family in the community of Yukon, Oklahoma. However, the pain of the tragedy would continue to linger, a constant reminder of the dark side of human nature. The case of the Candy family would forever be etched in the annals of criminal history, a scary tale of a family destroyed by greed, revenge, and violence. The case of the Candy family remains a scary reminder of the destructive power of human nature. It is a cautionary tale that warns us of the dangers of harboring resentment and seeking revenge. As we reflect on this tragic event, let us learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a more peaceful and harmonious future. The Candy family tragedy sent shockwaves through the community of Yukon, Oklahoma, and beyond. The once peaceful town was forever changed, scarred by the violence that had taken place within its borders. The case raised important questions about the nature of evil and the fragility of human life. The tragedy also highlighted the importance of mental health awareness and the need to address issues of anger, resentment, and violence. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most seemingly perfect families can harbor dark secrets and deep-seated resentments. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the community of Yukon, Oklahoma, rallied together to support one another and to honor the memory of the Candy family. Memorial services were held, and a scholarship fund was established in the name of Emily Candy. The case of the Candy family remains a scary reminder of the destructive power of human nature. It is a cautionary tale that warns us of the dangers of harboring resentment and seeking revenge. As we reflect on this tragic event, let us learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a more peaceful and harmonious future. What do you think? Was justice served in the case of the Candy family? Do you believe that the true motivations behind the crime were ever fully uncovered? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth looks into true crime stories.